deal. Fantastic. Got a few more trickling in here. We'll give it to the 32, and then we can get started. And we'll make sure this is all recorded. So if there is anybody who joins late, anybody who jumps on in a few minutes, we'll make sure that they receive a copy of the presentation from today.
Ability to use this handy catch-up tools we're going to talk about soon too.
Absolutely. We can get things started. I'm going to activate a poll, which you guys should be able to see now, that has the just some general questions. We're going to be doing a little bit of Q&A throughout the day today. So feel free to go ahead and answer that question as it pops up. We also have the Q&A section opened as well, so should be able to see that as well. And we can pop questions in there as we go through today. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and get started then. Really appreciate everyone taking the time to chat with us today and jump in and be a part of the presentation that we've got going on. So we're going to be talking about unified communications and really artificial intelligence and how do we stay competitive in these hybrid environments, how are businesses maintaining their competitive advantages, especially with the leveraging of AI into the near future here. So without further ado, we'll kind of jump into it here. First thing we'll do, a little bit of introduction, kind of who we are, those kinds of things, and we'll go through some of the perks of watching till the end, some of the different webinar tools. We'll talk a little bit about what the challenges are in this space, kind of what that problem looks like and how it persists, as well as what the solutions are, what's available out there, not just from Konica Minolta, but from the industry as a whole. What kind of issues are we solving? What kind of problems are we fixing as part of that? And then, of course, we'll wrap it up with a little bit of a Q&A towards the end and some summary, key takeaways, next steps, those kinds of things. So first things first, really want to thank everyone for taking the time to jump in today and spend a little bit of time with Jake and I as we go through this and talk about the industry, right? We both got a lot of experience in it. And so short introductions on that. So anybody who's not hasn't met me before or is kind of new to the crowd. So I'm the channel growth manager for the unified communications team here at Konica Minolta. My main job is to work with our customers and our clients on making sure that they're leveraging technology to the best of its abilities. I've been in the industry for about 8 years and lots of different certifications, but the most relevant one for what I do is the Cisco Certified Sales Professional. So got different experience with Polycoms or Cisco devices, Yealinks, et cetera, all pack into that as well. But had a lot of opportunity to be able to work with customers and clients, building solutions and framing them up. Spent many years as a solutions architect, working those roles. And then with me today is Jacob Foster. So he is my counterpart on the operations side. Jacob oversees really our entire operation as far as the products that we sell, the products that we utilize, and those kinds of things. And so he's really in tune with what's coming down the pipe and what's on the operational side of it. How is the new technology coming to play? How are businesses starting to utilize this and what's new and exciting, right? I think that's going to be one of the biggest pieces. We in the sales side, of course, always hear about the challenges, the problems. What is it that customers are facing and how are we looking to fix that? And Jake's really an expert when it comes to fixing those problems. So he's been in the industry for 12 years, as well as being a subject matter expert in this space. We worked together for a long time, so we're kind of excited for everybody to be a part of this, and we can share our knowledge and our experience with you guys as we go through this. So a couple perks of waiting to the end. We're going to be following up and sending out a download. So we've got a data sheet and a couple other pieces of information that I think are going to be really helpful as far as what we're seeing, trends in the industry, et cetera, as we're going through from that end. And then additionally, anybody that does end up signing up that, as part of the presentation today, we are offering a free month of unified communication service with a 36-month contract on that. So very excited to be able to offer that out. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to at least hear what we have to talk about as the industry is continuing to evolve and at an ever more rapid pace. So a couple of the tools that you guys will see here today, first and foremost, We do have the chat panel, and the Q&A sessions are, going to be part of what we've got going on today. And so feel free to utilize those. You can send messages to Jake and myself, and make sure that everybody's got the opportunity to utilize that chat. So if you're missing something, or you want to send a message to us, feel free to do that. Share your ideas or your thoughts. Additionally, we do have an app called Slido. Slido is our primary application for using Q&A. So we do have a Q&A option open in that. Feel free to pop any questions you have as we go through. Into that, we'll certainly address those towards the end. And then the reactions as well. You guys will see some opportunity to do some reactions, some emojis and those kinds of things as we go through this. If you see something you like, pop up some applauding hands. If you think Jacob's attractive or something, you can send out a smile or whatever might work from that end. So glad to be able to continue to use that. Excellent. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about the problem. Really what we're seeing in the industry today is a surprising amount of businesses and organizations are still really disparate across a lot of their communication systems, right? And across a lot of their tools in general. Technology sprawl is a real challenge for many businesses. And working together to find a solution that does work to consolidate it, right? I mean, unified is the key word in a lot of this. It's pulling together the different communications and those kinds of pieces. So we're seeing lots of businesses out there that are still on legacy phone systems, legacy PBX devices, that are primarily utilizing, we'll say, email as their main communication method, and those kinds of things. And this industry is rapidly changing, rapidly evolving, and it's something where communication has never been easier. And there's a lot of contributing factors to why the industry is moving as quick as it is, and why we're experiencing the changes that we're experiencing with that. Additionally, we're still finding lots and lots of organizations out there that are operating with huge expenses in trying to maintain legacy systems, legacy infrastructure, and not leveraging the new tools that are out there, the new kind of pay-as-you-go models, et cetera, as well as integration and some of the new technology that's coming out, and making sure that the different components are talking to each other, right? Is the left hand know what the right hand's doing, right? Are we copying and pasting? Are we spending too much time using multiple systems? And so this is still a really big issue across all industries and all businesses, right? Even some of the biggest tech companies still have some issues with technology sprawl, as far as what's the best tools for the actions that we're trying to utilize, and how do we accomplish the tasks that we're looking for with the best technology that's out there. And what this is really leading to is inefficiencies, right? We're seeing lots of inefficient communication. We're seeing lots of poor collaboration and productivity. And even today, right, we had the wonderful, not so wonderful experience of COVID, and that rapidly accelerated the move to hybrid environments, the need for cloud-based infrastructure and communications tools. We saw many businesses that really struggled with that. I myself had several friends that were trying to do, their organizations were doing complex VPN network to try and let them take a piece of hardware home so that they could actually use the phone from their home office, et cetera, right? They weren't set up, they weren't equipped for that. The challenge that the plus side to that is it forced many businesses to adopt new technology. But the downside is that it forced them to do that very, very quickly. And we still see lots of organizations that maybe made a quick decision. They went with something that was cheap. They went with something that was easy, and they're still struggling, right? And they've still got that technology sprawl. And while they may be in the cloud or hybrid or whatever it might be, we're seeing this on a daily basis where businesses are just not being, they're not optimizing the technology that they either have or the technology that's available to them to be able to do that. So certainly with some of the new things that are coming, and one of the big pieces we'll talk about today is just the inevitable world that we're going to live in with AI, right? And being able to leverage those tools effectively as part of it. And challenges or the excitement that kind of brings along with it. There is a lot of really amazing things that are going to be available as part of that. And so, we're wanting to make sure that we're talking with our businesses and our organizations, and we're thinking through what is the most effective use of our technology. What is it that we're doing in different spaces that maybe are redundant or maybe could be more efficiently done into a single pane of glass. And that's where we're seeing specifically the unified communications industry really working hard to develop products and applications that consolidate more and more of the communication we use on a daily basis. Obviously we're pulling in instant messaging, we're pulling in spaces and chats and teams. Telephony is a big component of that, right? Being able to do that, video conferencing, video meetings, etc. That's all a really big part of being able to have that level of collaboration. And so we're very excited to be able to pull all that together and make sure that that's kind of where we're headed, because there's tons and tons of businesses out there today that are still struggling with the opportunity that exists. So one of the real world examples of just kind of the problem and how it exists would actually happened to be a client of ours, and this happened back in 2021. Handful of you guys might remember the big deep freeze that hit Texas in February of that time frame, and the whole state's infrastructure really took a hard hit, and people were without power, people were without electricity or water or whatever it might be for multiple days at a time. And ironically enough, one of the clients we had just turned up, and you guys are gonna, I'm going to say this, and everybody's going to think that I'm just saying this for dramatic effect. I am not kidding when I say this was 2 days before the deep freeze. We actually turned on one of the larger suburbs of Houston, Texas, onto our platform, and they were able to continue their operation from their mobile clients and being out in the field, etc., undisturbed, while they continued to take care of their residents and take care of their customers and those kinds of things. Lots of citizens were stuck in place, but the city was able to continue operations as normal. And that's one of the best success stories we have. I know it's a few years old, but I absolutely love this one because it really illustrates how the migration from some of the older, more legacy infrastructure to what's available today can revolutionize the way that we're doing business and how we're serving our customers or our constituents in this scenario to be a little bit more effective from that space. So I think is kind of a whole, right? There's lots of opportunity out there in the sense that businesses don't know what they don't know, and we're not really sure where the future's headed. And that's, especially as we look at businesses that are still using maybe on-premise infrastructure, that are using legacy or dated solutions, and trying to get them up to where we are today with cloud solutions and being in the cloud and having that robust infrastructure anywhere at the touch of a finger, right, is going to be really big. But where we're headed is going to be more of that artificial intelligence and machine learning and thinking things for you so that we're able to consolidate and be more efficient in the jobs that we do on a day-to-day basis. And that's really what we want to talk about today, is kind of how do we solve some of these problems of the past with the artificial intelligence and the stuff that's coming down in the future. And like we said, one of the biggest challenges is just we don't know what we don't know, right? And fortunately, Jake knows what we don't know. So we're going to bring him in now. And let's talk a little bit about what that solution looks like, Jake. I think, you're more positioned than a lot of us to be able to talk about what's coming down the pipe and where is the strategy headed, not just with what Konica Minolta offers, but the industry as a whole, right? There's lots of competition in this space, and it does seem like just about everybody has an artificial intelligence component to what they're doing, including Intermedia or RingCentral or Zoom. They're all working to integrate this next level technology into what they're doing. So I'll kind of hand it over to you. What are you seeing today, and where's the effect of this kind of headed?
Yeah, so the big thing we're seeing right now is, like you said, a race to integrate AI wherever you can. And that has seen some successes where there's some really handy tools that actually improve the day-to-day user life. We've also seen a haphazard, we'll throw AI in. And what that creates is, okay, I've got a cool button I can press, but does it actually improve the workflow for users, improve the day-to-day? So what we're looking for from AI when we at Konica Minolta are looking at different solutions, and when we're working with our partners like Cisco, is we're looking for things that actually improve the way our employees and our customers are able to communicate with each other, that improve the way we can make decisions as a business, and speed up the time it takes to go from conversation to next step. So when we talk about unified communications, we're trying to take AI and improve our overall quality, consistency, and ease of communications across the organization. Sam, if you want to go ahead and hit the next slide for me.
Absolutely.
So looking at this across the industry, there's a few main areas that we're seeing AI integrated. We're seeing it in messaging with things like virtual assistants and rewrites and translation tools. We're seeing it in our call recording services, our meeting highlights, and then with the Cisco solution in particular, we see it taking those video AI components and applying it to something called Vidcast that creates easier ways to communicate with large numbers of people through your organization without having to hop on a meeting every time. So, and we're going to look at how some of those tools work specifically. We're also seeing it used to improve security, to improve IT stability and quality of service, and to make the life of our IT staff easier, make it faster to find a problem and get it solved. The other piece in AI that has been, honestly, even to myself, a little surprising is when I started seeing some of this technology come down the road, I was expecting, okay, we're going to see that hit industry, but we're going to see it hit industry at exorbitant price points. And that's not been the case. Instead, what we're seeing is AI has been incredibly accessible and very affordable to implement into these day-to-day systems. In many cases, not even costing anything extra. So it's been a big win where we start seeing this technology, and rather than pay the typical new tech premium, we're actually getting to see impact right away. So let's go ahead and take a look at what some of these features look like. So in this case, we're looking at our UC platform, and it's through WebEx. So the main product we're looking at today is WebEx calling. It's provided and developed by Cisco, and then we come in and help you integrate it and make the most out of it. So,
and there's lots of other platforms out there, that are all leveraging the similar component of this. We just, like you said, WebEx is our big one. So we're going to kind of show you how that's leveraged.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're going to see some similar features across lots of different places. The one I've got access to and can show you is WebEx today. And what we're seeing with WebEx calling and with these other platforms, it is taking a lot of the advantages of the cloud that Aaron spoke of earlier. We've got our disaster recovery. We have unified systems. We're solving some of that disparity in tech sprawl. And now it's enhancing it further with new AI tools. Here on the slide, we've got an instance of people seeing a 204% return on investment when they went to WebEx Suite, which is the full-featured AI inclusive license from WebEx. This drives IT efficiencies, it's improved collaboration, and you're going to see similar numbers from a lot of different platforms. When you move to a system that lets you connect your chat, your meetings, your calling, and then layer on some extra intelligence on top of that, you're going to have an improved efficiency of communication and efficiency of cost. Darren, we can jump to the next slide.
Absolutely. And one thing I did pop in there, as we're talking about AI, is we did open up another Q&A question. So, in what ways has AI already impacted the way that you guys are doing business and those kinds of things? So feel free to chime in a little bit on that.
Yeah, and just in case anyone's having a hard time finding it, the bottom right corner of your WebEx window, you're going to see three little dots. Inside there, you'll see an app for Slido. If it didn't open automatically for you, you can click that Slido link from that three-dot menu, and that'll open up your view for Q&A and any polling we're doing. But the first thing we're going to look at here in our demo is those meeting tools. So I've directed you to Slido, but the next thing I want everyone to do is I want you to look at that bottom pane of your meeting today. And in that bottom pane, I want you to click a couple links that are going to serve as a handy visual as we go through this process. First, I want you to click on the Hide Closed Captions button in the bottom right corner. Pull up my screen here for me. All right, so I want you to hit the Hide Closed Captions. Here on the screen share, you're able to see that this is doing a live transcription of the entire meeting. You also have a button for AI Assistant. If you click that button and open it up, this is a really handy pane to keep up with what's going on in the meeting. So for instance, if you joined this meeting a little late, had to jump in, you can click the button for Catch Me Up. What that's going to do is that's going to look at the full transcript of the recording, and it's going to do a summary of what's happened in the last 15 minutes of the meeting. So you can take a look in there, see where things stand. And then you can even look for things like, was my name mentioned? In my case, Aaron's mentioned my name a couple times, so I can start pulling those details up. And I can also look for things like action items. The none yet. Additionally, I can do things like say, Tracy, you're not seeing the WebEx, the AI assistant option. Here, when I switch my screen share, your interface will change a little bit. You should be able to grab it then. But here, within our summaries, I can continue asking questions. Was there any reference to AI? It'll start popping up those details. So feel free to play with that and see how some of those summaries can help. This also plays into a tool we have where if you hover over your own tile, you can say step away from meeting. It pops up a little coffee icon that you'll see here. Then when I come back to the meeting, I can automatically receive a summary of everything I missed just during the time that I stepped away. Here we can see Aaron has stepped away. So this is really great for those ongoing meetings so that people who have to live life, got a doorbell with our remote work, you got a dog tearing something up in the other room, you can go take care of business, come back, and not worry about what you've missed.
One of the really cool things with that is that you can actually set it to auto notice that you've disappeared, right? So if I were to step away for a few seconds, something's boiling over, right? WebEx will actually note that I'm not here anymore, and it will automatically put me into the stepped away mode. Or if I were to actually have the opportunity, let's just say I have a 1-year-old daughter and she's not very cognizant of the work time that I have. It does make it really easy if there's something that we need to take a peek at, and we can go in and do that. So
absolutely. So the next thing we're going to look at is what do we do with those meetings after they're done? And this is where some of those AI tools become very handy. So I'm going to share my screen again. And this time I'm going to share my WebEx application. All right, so what you're seeing in the middle of your screen now is the WebEx desktop app.
Hey, Jay, can you make that a lot bigger?
I can try. That's as big as I can make it right now.
All right.
So what I've got here is the desktop application. And in the meetings tab, this is going to show every meeting that I've been in recently through WebEx. And on a meeting here, when I click on it, I can see the meeting summary. And this is going to be an AI-generated summary that looked at the entirety of the meeting and created a condensed summary of the main bullet points hit. In this case, for our purposes today, I started a quick meeting and played a little bit from a keynote discussing some of the AI audio codecs. We can see that here as it talks about redundancy and reconstructing missing packets with AI. We go into the transcript. This will show the entire transcript, including the ability to do transcription in multiple languages. And then if I go into the recording of this meeting, I can see the summary, I can see the transcript, and I could jump to specific points. So if I go, I'm interested in this section of the meeting, it will jump to that point in the audio. Additionally, I can see AI generated chapters that are going to look at section by section in a longer video and automatically create chapters so people can find the information they're looking for. One thing I want to mention, because there's not a real great way to demo it other than hopefully you receiving some nice clear audio on this meeting, is the meeting that I recorded here is all around WebEx's AI audio codecs. This is something we're seeing in the industry now where the typical network redundancy, where if I don't have a real quick swap of my network, if my network goes down, or if I've got a lot of packet loss causing pieces of my audio file to be lost as I'm talking to you over the phone, you would hear a lot of choppy audio. It's what would sound like static. Well, what we're seeing in the industry now is AI audio codecs that, one, reduce the necessary bandwidth to have good, clean audio by up to 80%, allowing for lower bandwidth utilization with higher audio quality, and can even reconstruct missing pieces of data. So if I'm talking to you and a section of my conversation is lost in transmission, the new AI audio codecs can actually use generative AI to replace that piece of audio, meaning that even if your internet's a little choppy, you have a much higher chance of having crystal clear audio on your calls. And this speaks to the overall user experience that AI can bring, not just in the features and the buttons you can click, but even in the core services that you're using. So look at some of those user experiences. We have things like the messaging writing assistant. So if I come in here to this chat, I can start a conversation with Kyle here. And the conversation says, how's the new client project progressing? Make sure you're on top of this. The client needs to be top priority. Not a bad message. But depending on what I'm trying to send, I can open up our rewrite assistant. I can say, you know what, I would like this to sound a little more casual and a little more polite. So let's go and improve this and hit apply. So what we can see is now it has rephrased my question, kept the heart of what I'm trying to communicate, but allowed it to come across a little more professionally and a little more casually in the case of this conversation. You can set that tone even to a very formal and pessimistic attitude. So really handy to be able to draft messages and then make sure you are communicating the way you intend. I know for myself, if I get busy, I can send very short messages. And we've all had the experience of communication through text can sometimes communicate more than we intended. These kinds of tools help with that. The next thing we have that is incredibly helpful for both users and for administrators is call recording with AI. I'm going to hop in here and share another window. All right, what you're seeing now is, and I can make this one bigger, is our call recording with AI platform. So this is what you would see as a user, where any of my calls that I'm having are recorded. And rather than typical call recording, this is also doing a full transcription and creating a sentiment analysis. If I look at the first call here, this system is going to look at a number of different emotional sentiments, from joy to anger to sympathy, and down the list you can see in here on the screen. It's then going to take section by section of that call and identify how much of that call contains flavors of joy, sadness, or attentiveness. And then it's going to look at an overall positive, neutral, or negative rating for the segments of the call, giving you an overall rating of positive or negative. Additionally, I can jump to any word within this recording. And if I want to click on fiber, it's going to jump right to that place in the call. This is a great tool for a user to go review a previous call they had, make sure they remember it properly, take any action items down. But this also allows us to do notifications for users as well as for administrators or supervisors, where a supervisor can be assigned a team. And within that team, any calls that trigger as negative can alert, or any calls that contain certain keywords within the overall transcription can provide an alert to a supervisor to make sure we're taking care of things for customers the way we need to. This is a great example of where the typical call recording or even just call recording with some transcription can be handy, but leveraging the AI pieces on top allows us to make faster business decisions and take care of customers more quickly. Additionally, for our administrators, we're able to solve problems within our system and for users more quickly than ever before. What you're seeing here is the WebEx Control Hub. This is a dashboard for administrating the system. But one of the pieces that we see AI improving the experience of an administrator is in our media quality. This lets us look at things like audio jitter, packet loss, latency, find those trends, and then apply those trends and scorings to calls. If I look at this user Art here, we can see that Art has a lot of poor quality calls. In the real world, this is the kind of thing that pops up as a complaint to the IT team, or that makes it to my service desk saying, hey, my calls sound choppy. Why? Well, in the past, you have to do call examples, you have to review all the traffic, you've got to do some packet captures to see what's going on. You're trying to figure out if you've got an issue on their computer, on our platform, or on the network. Now we can take all these data points, and if I pick a specific call that had poor quality, AI is being used to find insights about what could have contributed to a poor quality call. Similarly, we take a look at another one. Here we see additional insights where we're seeing we've got high jitter on Art's end. Art's internet connection is unstable. That's why we have the problem. We know exactly where we need to go and troubleshoot. So this allows your IT administrators to save an immense amount of time chasing their tail and instead solve problems quickly. That's a quick high-level look at a number of the ways that AI is being implemented, and the list continues to grow. So as you're thinking through your unified communication systems, you want to make sure that whoever you're working with, whether it's us or any of the other companies out there that are doing awesome work in AI, you want to make sure that AI is a part of the package. Not necessarily because you have to have it today. You might say, hey, I don't need a rewrite button. But if it's not part of their plan, you're going to be missing out in the future.
Definitely. Well, thanks, Jake, for kind of walking us through that. I think, just kind of showcasing even some of the stuff that's here right now is really, really important, because there's a lot of opportunity out there in the space around, what's available and where we're headed. Let me ask you this though, before we jump out. What is the one thing you're most excited for from an AI perspective?
The biggest one I'm looking forward to in some coming soon features is in the contact center and call center world. So we're now seeing the ability for AI to look at a private knowledge base and start giving recommendations to agents that say, hey, this is what you're talking about right now, live on the phone, or this is what this email ticket that was sent in is asking about. Here's articles you need to check. Beyond that, here's a suggested response for the customer that addresses their core question. This doesn't eliminate the need for experts to go, hey, is everything I'm getting what it needs to be? But this means the time it might take that engineer to solve a customer problem could be reduced by 80%. Because right off the bat, they're getting the articles they need, the responses for the customer, they're ready to hit send. So that to me is where, when we start looking at a customer service perspective, I get very excited.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I can really see that revolutionizing a lot of what people are able to do. Where, it's not robotic, where it's a robot telling you, but it's that happy medium of customers can still have interactions with live people, live users, um, but we're able to be a lot more specific on could control a little bit more of that human element around
Yeah.
how we interact with our customers, which will be fantastic.
And that's what
Really,
I like seeing as a trend in general. Is frankly, I tend to be a little hesitant around if I call someone, I want a real person. I don't want to just work with a robot. But I love if that real person can solve my problem faster than ever before. So allowing real people to be enhanced by the tools AI provides them is the great balance between real human connection, real human interaction, while saving a lot of time and money.
excellent. That's really exciting. With that, we wanted to open this up for Q&A. Does anybody have anything? Please pop it into the Slido, and we'll go ahead and address any questions or concerns or thoughts you might have around the products as they're there. The big thing, and we can come right back to that. The big thing we want to focus on for a minute here, right, is some of the key takeaways, right? So unified communication solutions across the world right now are leveraging these new tools, right? And as Jake kind of alluded to, and using messaging where it writes and translates for you, it comes up with prompts, etc. The call recording where it's doing sentiment analysis to evaluate where people are, where people are seeing the most impact. With meetings, right? Being able to have the summaries or notice that you stepped away and automatically start that what did I miss component of it. Like we said, Cisco specifically with Vidcast, but there's other components out there too where we're able to take those these meetings, these recordings, etc., and it's automatically going to create chapters and playable highlights. It's going to be able to add in additional features and functionality and make it much easier to collaborate from a meetings perspective and a video perspective. And then of course we're always seeing more productivity coming to it. Chat GPT is still out there. Microsoft Copilot still out there, right? They're helping businesses day to day with different components of building presentations or helping them shop, etc. I was watching the Olympics last week and I saw no less than 3 AI pieces in a row that popped up, right? And it was 3 different commercials, one for Amazon, one for Meta, and one for Copilot. So it was kind of cool to see all that, and especially as Jake alluded to. I mean, I myself was also expecting the enterprise level of these to be wildly unaffordable to your everyday consumer, and the reality of that is that these are very in line with what people are doing, and a lot of them are included as part of the packages. So we really want to start to see that become more of what we're doing. So with that stated, we'll certainly have a follow-up email for everyone, but we've got a new data sheet that everyone can download, kmvoice.com/AI-webinar-data sheet. So feel free to go there, grab the data sheet that's specific for the presentation that you guys have sat through today, which will be really exciting. And then as we stated, we are offering a free month for anybody that has enjoyed this presentation, looks to want to chat a little bit further, want to learn more about it. If you do look at coming up with what Konica Minolta has to offer, we're going to be very happy to kind of talk through that. So if you do have a KM or All Covered rep, let's go ahead and get in contact with them. Whoever invited you today. If not, kmvoice.com, you can click schedule a demo. It'll route you right to one of the members on our team to be able to do that. So with that being said, the last piece that I wanted to pull up here was the last question that we have is, how do you think AI could enhance the way you work and communicate with coworkers? So as you're heading out, feel free to pop that in there. If you do have any other questions, Jake and I will stick around for a few minutes and we can go ahead and answer those, and we'll go from there. So really appreciate everyone's time today. Jake, thank you for your insights and your expertise, and we look forward to hearing from everyone in the near future. Perfect. Well, since I know everyone that's here and no customers are left, Tracy, I will answer it. Konica Minolta uses an on-premise system in the data center in Ramsey. It's a 3CX system that they buy SIP trunking for. So I don't know who they're actually buying it from. It's probably one of the major carriers, which is fine. But with the migration to 365 coming up here in October that we're all going to be going through, we will be moving to the Microsoft Teams platform. So most of that is going to be available from that end. So perfect. Go ahead and answer those.